Hello, welcome to another Alpha Strike We Play video. My name is Adam. I'm the owner of Alpha Strike Games and Hobbies here in Perth, Australia. And as always, my friend Tarron.
Me!
Yay!
Yay! The swoosher.
Yes, the swoosher. you've got a thing going there, mate.
Dear.
So, thank you for watching this video. And in this one, we are talking about
Vehicles. We are talking specifically wheeled vehicles.
Yes.
Because we did hobbers, now we're doing wheels.
Yes, continued the series. It's been quite good, actually.
Natural expansion from hobber to wheel.
That's it.
I did that without looking.
I've quite enjoyed looking through all the vehicles again.
Yeah, I've been remembering some cool stuff about, so even some lore stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, like story stuff based around them. But yeah, I've just been basically remembering stuff that I tried to get to work in games that didn't even remotely work. Yeah.
So, in the games of BattleTech, where do wheeled vehicles sort of fit into things?
You've got a decent range for wheeled ones.
I think they have a maximum weight of, I think it was about 80 tons. Because I know that hovers were maximum of 50.
Yep.
But yeah, if anything above that, you need to go up to track. But 80 tons is quite a
respectable. You can do a lot with 80 tons. Yeah, a serious amount of stuff can happen in 80 tons. You'll see on there the motive system damage table on the ground, combat vehicle hit location table that we put up before that was on page 193 of Total War. We'll bing it. We'll bing.
So there it is again.
You'll see that wheeled gets a +2 to the motive system damage table.
Yeah.
Not as bad as hovercraft, but still not good.
No.
So you only really need a 10 and it's out of the game.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
But I mean, everything else is essentially the same from the hit location table. You know, all the motive damage possibilities and all that sort of thing. It's just a little bit more robust than skirts filled with air, essentially.
Yeah. These guys don't side slip. They do skid, however, and the skidding rules apply, and you take damage if you skid in a wheeled vehicle and all that sort of stuff. I'm pretty sure we did that in the ground vehicle base level stuff.
Yes, we did.
But just to reiterate, in case anyone isn't watching that one, why not?
Yeah, why not? Go back and watch it. So it's good.
Go watch it.
But
I think that's basically it.
Yeah, essentially you can put whatever sort of weapons on there that you really want. It just comes down to weight and things like that.
Yeah.
They'll have an internal combustion engine or a fusion engine, just like a mech.
Depending on how much money you want to spend.
Yeah, that's right. It really comes down to money as well. I mean, as far as how they play the game, it's sort of the same sort of thing. But
yeah.
I
mean, they follow basically all the same sort of rules. You've got to pack them full of heat sinks if you have energy weapons or heat making weapons on there.
Yep.
You've got maximum tonnage. You've got all of these other things that are basic general vehicle type things. But I would say they move away from hovercraft's specificity, I think would be a good word there. They're not solely fast scout vehicles. You've got some really cool, like, actual combat vehicles in there, I think. The hovercrafts are more scout vehicles because they're so frail, because they don't have the big armor type things. I mean, some of them are pretty huge and they've got armor all over them, but generally speaking, hovercraft are lighter, less armor, and faster.
Yeah.
Wheeled ones, I think you get a lot of urban pacification and stuff like that because they're really good on the streets, on the paved roads.
That's right.
And you'll see that in things like, was it the Chevalier and some of the other ones that come up as actual urban pacification vehicles.
That's right. Well, things like bridges or whatever is something to note because bridges will have a certain weight that they can support.
Yes.
You know, so I found that the majority of tracked vehicles seem to be on the heavier side because that's what you can do. You can have them up to 100 tons or whatever it is.
Yeah, so you make them 100 tons.
Yeah, but a wheeled vehicle can have quite a bit of armor and some good weapon choices and has that flexibility to be able to move over certain, more bridges and get into places.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And that's the urban type thing, these paved stuff is pretty much their bread and butter, and a lot of them will be infantry transport.
Yeah.
If you're looking through your wheeled vehicles, you'll find a lot of the low-level ones that are just, they're not actually listed as a combat vehicle. They're usually just for infantry transport and things like that.
Yeah. So there's certain terrain that they're prohibited from. They have more options than your hovers and everything. Vehicles in general can't go into heavy woods by the looks of it.
Mm.
Oh, certain types. Okay. So light woods, prohibited unit is wheeled and rough ground. So they can't go into rough, they can't go into light, and heavy I think's out of the question as well.
Yeah, I don't think anything goes through heavy.
12 VTOL and wing ground effects. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so heavy woods and heavy jungle, because there's all those other woods types.
Yeah, you have to be able to go over it rather than through it.
Yeah,
they can't really do it.
That's right. But other than that, yeah, they're pretty good. 3+ levels for changing elevation. Ground vehicles can't. 2 levels. Yeah, so they have the same restrictions. They can only do 1 elevation.
All the same restrictions.
Yeah.
Yep. I got to point out that there are a lot of different ones that do the infantry movement, and there is it's a heavy APC, I think.
Yeah.
And it comes in basically all 3 main motive types. There's like an APC hover version, there's an APC wheel version, and there's an APC track version.
Yeah.
So we probably won't discuss them here, but just know they are out there. There's like I think it's called a troop transport or a heavy APC or something.
Yeah. So a couple of machine guns to the front, I think, and
they've all got the same basic
faster
equipment and stuff, but they've got the 3 different motive types that are there. So that's pretty cool.
So their BV and their, C-bill cost is probably different as well.
Slightly different, yeah. But I think they kept the weights and everything all the same.
Same, yeah.
Just for the sake of consistency. But that's where I'm moving towards with my first one. If I'm going first again.
Yeah, you can go first.
Yep.
That's fine. Yep.
So I have one that I actually tried to make work at one point in an Alpha Strike game, which was the Tahan urban combat vehicle. And it has 2 large lasers on a turret and a machine gun on a turret, and then 1 machine gun in the front.
Okay.
And that's all it is. It's got a bunch of ammo for the machine gun, but it has 5 tons of infantry movement capacity.
Nice.
And it's a 4/6 move wheeled.
Okay.
And it's a pretty solidly armored unit for the wheeled vehicle. It's got a decent amount of armor for what it is, and 5 tons is enough to take a jump infantry platoon, a foot infantry platoon, or I'm pretty sure a battle armor platoon.
Yes.
You need 5, don't you? For battle armor, I think.
Generally 4 for Innisphere, but it depends. Like they have some of the new, like the Kanazuchi or something was like 2 tons for a suit. But I think they've sort of standardized.
Yeah.
So they'll say, oh yeah.
Well, there's a table which we don't really need to put up that has like a listing of different things, and there are older ones, so it's only got the basic ones. So motorized, jump, and foot. A foot is 3 tons, motorized is 6, and the jump infantry is 4 tons. So he can carry a jump infantry platoon into battle and drop them off and have them leap onto buildings and muck around with that sort of stuff. They're pretty cool. They're one that I wanted to try out. But I have the model, but it's not really, it's not in one piece and it's not painted, so I haven't really tried to do anything with that.
That's all right. So was that a Star League era one?
I think the original is a Star League era one, but there's a couple of different versions of it, and there's one called the Ku, Ku. Would that be Ku or Q?
We'll say Ku.
Which is basically the I think it was the Draconis Combine version of it or something. Oh. So it's a different version of the Tahan, but it's like, there. So there's 2 other versions of. It's a clan revision because the Tahan is Star League.
Star League, right.
And it went with, quite a few of them went with the clans on the Exodus sort of thing. And they've revised it and done their usual clan stuff, and they've like refitted it and stuff, and slowly pared it down to the essentials and gotten a really good vehicle.
And now it's got 50 pulse lasers and...
I haven't been getting to look, just in case it's better. But there's an original version, which is the original Star League version, then which has ferrofibrous and all that junk. Then there's the standard version, which I like.
Yeah.
And then there's a C3 version as well, which is Jihad era. So,
nice.
yeah. We also have, as far as that goes, we have one called, which is, I've never actually used this, but it's one of my favorite fluff-wise vehicles, the Pack Rat. It's very, very cool. It's a very cool little vehicle. I love the idea of it. Like, it's basically a one-man car sort of thing. I think it's a crew of one or a crew of two. And it's just a self-contained little reconnaissance vehicle. It's got an SRM6 for like causing mayhem and protecting itself, and a flamer for like it's a rear-mounted flamer, so it can
for drag
take
racing.
off, and that's for drag. No,
yeah,
it's for looking cool. So you can lay down smoke screens, you can put different types of fuel and things in there, and you can use it for that sort of escape sort of thing. But the lore is in there. Right, this is old. Okay, I've had this for a long time. It's seen a lot of use, but I just love the idea of that little. It's got some really good scout equipment. It's got really good communications and that sort of equipment. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of variants with extra electronics on there.
How heavy is it?
It is a 20-ton.
Right.
But it's a 711.
Okay.
And with one SRM6, I mean, it's doing some good solid damage, but it isn't meant to be in a fight. 16 armor all round.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's just, it's not meant to fight.
Wow, an SRM6 though is a pretty good deterrent.
But these are the ones that you use to bring down the artillery and bring down the things. These are scouts. These are pure scouts. Yeah. I love them. I reckon they're great, but I've never actually used one. So there's like 4 other versions. One's got an SRM2. But the other interesting thing is that they have a ton of infantry space.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like 7. That's a squad.
It's a squad, yeah. So there's 3 tons for a standard platoon.
Yeah.
So I think you're allowed to take it in squad. So you take a squad of infantry. So we'll go into that more when we do infantry. Okay,
that's pretty handy.
There is a version that gets... so there's a version that has a 4-ton battle armor compartment, but it's like an experimental thing. And there's a version, an SR2 version, that expands the infantry bay to 3 tons, which lets you take an entire platoon.
Now that's pretty handy too.
Yeah. So you lose the SRM6, you gain an SRM2, but you can take an entire platoon of infantry at 711 to the destination of your choice. Yeah. I think it's a really cool vehicle, but I've never actually used one. I've never owned the model. I've never done anything with it. It's very cool.
Pretty reasonable too, being a sphere.
344.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Sorry, that's my bedtime alarm.
No, good night.
It's a long weekend. I don't have to worry about it. What was the next one I had? Yes, the Thumper, because I love my artillery. And the Thumper artillery vehicle is a method of delivering that to the battlefield.
Yeah.
So it's an actual vehicle with a Thumper artillery piece on it, which is the 15 damage one. So I think Thumper is the lowest damage one, then it goes sniper and then long tom, and then you've got all the other stuff. But of the cannons, that's the lower level one. It's only 568 BV. It's got really good armor, 60 plus on the front, and then 40s on the side and 20 on the rear. It has the Thumper artillery piece and 4 machine guns.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 on the front and 2 on the rear.
Yeah, any infantry protection is really what you need for an artillery piece, so that's pretty cool.
It's a 4.6, so it's got a decent movement. I mean, apart from the Pack Rat, obviously. The 4.6s is fairly standard for the ICE versions of most of these vehicles.
I mean, artillery is generally deployed off-board. There's rules for that. We talked about that in one of our previous videos. Go check that out if you want some more info. But, yeah, I mean, if you do end up playing the round where they get to the board where they're at least you've got it there. And that's decent armour protection. And decent speed to get away from whatever.
And you can use artillery on board. You don't have to deploy it off board.
No.
But, I mean, if you want to make people spend BV on artillery, then this is a way to do it. You say, well, you have to take a vehicle or unit that actually has that artillery piece on it. And if you're in that situation, if you're in a scenario where you have to get an artillery piece, this is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It's pretty cheap. It's pretty good. I
well,
like it.
If you're playing on the paper mats, you know, it doesn't really take long to get quite a number of those together if you've got some of the box sets and whatever else. So you can actually play on quite a long board. Just
and you can always play with rolling maps. You can always move them along and just say, okay, well now you're at the map where they are and you've got it. But that's, like I say, this is more geared towards people that either want to have it on board or that your scenario dictates that you actually have to purchase the unit that has the artillery. Even if you're putting it off board, you still have to purchase a unit in order to do it.
Yeah.
And I think this is a pretty cheap one. This is the one that I remember the little bit of fluff for, because there's the Striker light tank. Him.
That's a nice looking tank too.
It's a really cool little tank. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's set up perfectly. It's got an LRM-10 and an SRM-6 and a couple of tons of ammo for each one. And it's gold. It's a 5.8 vehicle, so it's faster than some of the bigger ones, but it's not as fast as, say, the Pack Rat and some of the other things. But this one, in there's a story about, I think it was Wild Bill somebody. And they actually, somebody landed an assault force with a dropship. And all the mechs got out of the dropship and they unloaded and they started heading towards their objective. And this guy had been waiting and he hid for a little while. He waited for all the mechs. He catalogued each one and he radioed it in, and then he drove into the dropship and started shooting the place up.
Nice.
He didn't destroy it or anything, but he managed to delay it and damage it enough that it couldn't take off immediately. And then he bugged out of there, the crew, but I think it's a 2-person crew or something. They bugged out of there and they radioed in for artillery strikes, and they eventually destroyed the drop. I love that. It's brilliant. I remember reading that the first time and thinking, I want 6 of those. They're awesome. But it's a really cool little vehicle. It's not heavily armoured, but it's got decent armour. It's not heavily weaponed, but it's got good solid ranges on both of its things.
But it's got history.
It's got some history, some
lore. It seems that it's like a lot of mercenary forces would probably find a use for it as well. Yeah. They're affordable.
And I think this is one of the ones that they made a lot of.
Oh,
There's a lot of these out there.
I can imagine it's really useful.
Yeah. And that's 564 BV. So you can put a decent crew in one of them for not very much. I like it. They're brilliant. Yeah. They're absolutely groovy.
It is a good look. It is a good looking tank, actually.
Yeah, I mean, look at that thing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool. And the last one I want to mention is another comparison thing that I want to do. Do you remember in the hovercraft one we did, I did the Saladin.
Yeah.
It's basically just a hovercraft with an AC-20 pasted to the front. And it just zips around and shoots people in the legs, basically. Well, this is the wheeled version. This is the Hetzer. Hetzer Wheeled Assault Gun. It is an AC-20 on a couple of axles with some armour thrown over the top. And it's cool. It's just cool. That's him there. That's him there.
40,
that's your
40 ton. Yeah, 40 tons or something, I think he is.
Yeah, 40 tons.
Yeah. 4.6.
He's actually got pretty similar. He's only got a little bit more armour on him than the Striker has. And he's a 4.6, not a 5.8, but that's an urban vehicle. I reckon you're not meant to be taking that off-roading and trying to take out mechs. You're waiting for them to come into the city, and then you're just busting out of a garage somewhere and blowing a leg off, and then busting back into the garage and hoping nobody kills you.
People tend to get scared of an AC-20. Funny that.
At close range. For some reason, I don't know why. But again, that's 574 BV.
Yeah.
I think the hover version is like 20 points more expensive, but it's got double the movement.
Yeah.
So you have to balance that out. You have to go, it's got less armor, but you have to say, well, do I want my vehicle to move really, really fast and possibly get blown up? Or do I want it to be slower, a little more heavily armored, and possibly get blown up? It happens. They're vehicles. It's not the focus of the game, but they are very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
And this guy, this is just a comparison to the Saladin, because I would take a Saladin every time. But he's very, very groovy. If you're into your wheeled vehicles, and the miniature's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks like an original tank type thing. Like, this is the sort of thing they would have come up in, like, the Succession Wars equivalent of World War One. You'd be going, oh, yeah, let's just put a big cannon on a big box and chuck some wheels on it. That'll be cool.
Works for me.
Works for me. Blam!
The vehicles are pretty good as far as value for actual dollars, because you can get like 2 in a blister pack as well. So, you know, you get a...
Yeah, most of the
few more
vehicles
units.
come with 2. I think the which one is it? The Savannah Master comes 8 in the pack.
Or something, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you buy those individually now, which is a lot easier. But yeah, I think they used to do like 8 in a pack.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people needed 8? You probably do. You love them.
I got a pack of 8.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I've done with them, but they're there somewhere. They're in my stuff.
But the inner sphere just has so many vehicles, don't they?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's not just
I've got a bunch here that I could give honourable mentions to. I mean, I've always liked the Rotunda.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's
thing.
just basically a little armoured sedan with a large laser and a machine gun or something on it. And
the president rides in it. That's what it is.
There's a light SRM carrier, which is also worth a mention. That's instead of the 10 that the Heavy has, it's got 5 SRMs.
Yeah. On a turret.
On a turret. And like a 4-6 movement?
4-6.
I think it was 4-6 movement.
It's a little bit faster.
But it's got 3 tons of ammo. Oh, no. 6 tons of ammo.
6,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fairly generous.
No, 3.
3.
Yeah. So 3 tons of ammo.
Though. That's still...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite...
I think we worked out you could fire it for like 9 turns or something.
Yeah.
But that's 5 SRM6s with an option to adjust your ammo loadout.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant. And you're using a lot of wheeled vehicles, like I say, in urban environments. You want a lot of cover, a lot of stuff around you to use these sort of units. Ideally. You don't have to. You can easily put them on a nice big open plain and try and take somebody out. But ideally, you want somewhere for them to get into cover and sneak close and then blam, and then run away again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, being wheeled, you want some fairly stable ground, something even, you know. So obviously the cities and paved areas or whatever.
Paved areas
clear is the best for that sort of thing. So they work the best there.
I think a lot of them end up on like periphery worlds where there's a city or something like that, or like urban pacification where they don't want to use mechs or something like that. You know, they end up in a niche role.
Yeah.
But they're really good units if you can get the right situation for them. They're really, really good.
Well, they're a lot cheaper, not just battle value, but like I was saying, with the dollar value, the C-bill value, because like an internal combustion engine is pretty common to fix and whatever else, you know. Fusion engines, they get expensive, so they don't really...
Well, that light SRM carrier is 800,000 C-bills.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, the mobile HQ is one that I wanted to mention too. So
that's really
this
handy.
fella here, again, one of Adam's miniatures. Very cool. But it's worth considering that.
But it has in-game benefits, doesn't it, if you take that?
So the communication system for the mechs is usually like a ton or something like that. But you can install into things better communication systems. And I'm pretty sure that if you have 5 to 6 tons of communications equipment, you get a +1 to your initiative as long as that unit and that communications equipment is viable.
Yeah.
If the equipment takes a critical hit or the unit is knocked out or leaves the board or whatever, then you lose that. But you get a +1 for that. And if you have 7 tons or more, you get a +2.
Yeah.
And this guy has 7 tons.
Yeah.
So that's a +2 to your
Very
initiative,
nice.
as long as that's sitting on the board.
Very
and
nice.
That's Mobile HQ. Let's have a look. He is 392,000 C-bills and 319 BV.
319 BV with an average crew to get +2 bonus initiative every round that it's there.
And an extra medium laser if anybody gets close
True.
enough. Yep.
Is it front or turret mounted? Does it say?
I think it's front, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure it's
Turret.
It is turret, is it?
Yep.
Wow, I thought it was just front.
And it's got half a ton of cargo space as well, so you can put other things in there if you want to.
Yeah. Like a jet ski, you know.
Put an ATV in there for quick getaways. But there's a few other ones that are out there that are just, they're really good. And yeah, you got to have a look and see if you can find one for you, I guess. I mean, the easiest way to do it would probably be to look through the miniatures that you have available to you and see if you can find something on Sana or whatever that sings and says, yeah, that's me.
I like the artwork. It's from the faction, they created it, and that I play, so you know, give them a crack. But yeah, I think they're good.
Like I say, the Striker is a really good one, and that light SRM. I don't know if you could get a hatred of those, but you could definitely get away with an Armageddon. But that guy there, he's gold. Simple, easy, cheap, and does damage.
Yeah.
You can have a squad of them in a big game and use it to serious effect.
Hello, puppy.
Hello.
Hello.
Why you bite?
Yeah.
Bite lick, I'm gone. Okay. Hello.
Pause.
Can I boot?
So maybe we should have a look at what the clan's been up to. So they make some really nice hovercraft, but do they make good wheeled vehicles?
Oh, yes, they do.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yes, they do indeed. I've seen a few.
So we're looking at technical readout 3060. All right, so as I said in the hovercraft one, this is where they first introduced the vehicles that the clans had. So they gave us an insight as to what they're doing. And look, some of the designs are a bit out there with the way they look, but they're kind of cool. You know, I guess you sort of got to have something a little different. The first one we're going to look at is the Odin. I thought Odin would be bigger, but apparently he's 20 tons. That's Odin there.
That's Odin
That
there.
is Odin.
And it's cool. That's a cool looking little vehicle.
It is cool. So it's basically, it was introduced in 2844. All right, so it's been around for a little while. It's the most successful recon vehicle that the clans pretty much have ever had.
Okay.
It does benefit from the crew. There's a crew of 2. It does benefit from them having some sort of long-term specialised training with one another as a team.
Okay.
All right, because that's how you
coordination
sort of best
thing.
to use the equipment that's built into there. The Jade Falcons, well, they don't really like vehicles that much anyway, so anyone who got relegated to it, they didn't really care.
Yeah.
And of course, that cost them a lot of things because they didn't do the training.
I was going to say, yeah.
The Ghost Bears, I think, were watching a lot of what they did and how they failed, and they didn't make the same mistake. So they trained their people, and they had a lot of success, and as did the other clans.
Yeah.
But quite fast. Okay, we're talking 812, so it's got the speed of the Locust. It's pretty good.
Ooh.
Okay, it's designated as recon, which is fair enough, but it comes under 1 million C-bills.
Oh,
for
nice.
clan tech, that's pretty cool. All right, does use a fusion engine, ferrofibrous armor, which is pretty good. Battle value is 691.
Very nice.
And for that, you get 2 medium pulse lasers on a turret. You get an ER small laser on the front, which is operated by the driver, a Streak SRM2 on the turret, and it has a B Galactic Pro for doing the scouting.
Scouting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's pretty good. Armor, well, you know,
Not much, probably.
armor factor is 29 points, so about 1.5 tons spread over the most of it. The front has like 7 points. It's not supposed to be shot at. It's supposed to spot and get the hell out of there with that sort of speed. But nice looking little vehicle. I actually think it's kind of cool.
I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's quite nice. 20 tons, very fast, and quite useful. But the accuracy of the pulse lasers is quite good.
Yeah,
if you're moving that fast, you want something like that. And streaks, well, you know, it conserves the ammo. It only needs 1 ton for that, so you got 50 shots there.
It's still a good 100 points of BV higher than some of the similar things in a sphere, but that's actually pretty reasonable for a clan vehicle like that. That's
correct.
Cool.
Yeah, for a scout vehicle, it's priced quite well. You know? And if it does have to go up against other things around its weight class, it can threaten them.
2 medium pulse and a streak. That's gold.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's quite good. So the second vehicle that I want to sort of show you guys is the Indra, which is a 35-ton vehicle. It's named after a Hindu god of, I think it was war and lightning.
Ooh.
So basically they had a bow and arrow made out of lightning or whatever it is. That's because the main weapon mounted on the front is a clan ERPPC. All right. Okay,
that makes sense. Yep,
now this is a transport vehicle, okay? It actually has 3 tons of cargo to transport troops. But it's got an ERPPC weapon on the front, which is kind of cool. It does have some other weapons on a turret. It's 4 machine guns, so that's to help the troops get in and out, so they're not sort of threatened
against enemy infantry. Yeah.
So introduced in 2842, so a little bit before the Odin. They seem to have like names based after gods and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been noticing that a lot. Fine. Yeah.
Considered a transport vehicle, just over 1 million C-bills. All right. 5.8 movement with a fusion engine, ferrofibrous armor, so it's got a bit of money still put into it, but it's still priced quite well.
Yeah.
897 BV for a transport.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean the total armor is 96, so it's not too bad. It's about 5 tons. So it is more expensive than the standard little
APC
things we were talking about before, but I mean, you know, I think our PPC is nothing to scoff at. So 3 crew, so that's not too bad. But I kind of like it. I mean, that's a lot of firepower. That is a lot of firepower and a lot of range too.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, an ERPPC on the front. I mean, that covers pretty much the whole battlefield if you're not taking those infantry anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Insane.
Yeah. So you just get into position and just try and keep all the big things at bay as best you can. Unload your troops or load up your troops, depending on what it is. But yeah, it's quite good. Fairly common. There is another vehicle. It's a tracked vehicle that we'll talk about later. That's probably more common.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of crew trained with it. It's supposed to be quite simple to operate and things like that. But it's interesting. It's kind of like a longer. You know those buses that we have that drive around with the
concertina?
Accordion buses.
Accordion buses. Yep.
It's that sort of thing. So it's kind of, but it is kind of cool. I kind of like it. Just looks a bit different.
That's very neat.
It's like they've taken the front of like one of those what do they call them? You know, you go travelling around the country.
Greyhounds.
No, not a bus.
Oh.
You know,
an RV,
like an RV thing. Yeah. That's what it's sort of
Winnebago.
Winnebago. That's it. Yeah.
Mobile home. Dear oh dear.
Just with some.
And they just stuck a tube on the front that happens to spit out man-made
lightning. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Very nice.
Pretty good. So 35 tons. It's not bad.
And 3 tons of cargo. I think you can get a respectable amount of even battle armor for that. No. But that's a full.
You could put there's a couple of individual battle armor dudes, but you can't fit up.
I think it's 3 dudes.
Well, the clans have 5 because they're the whole star thing. So that's 5 tons.
The point is 5 tons, but you could take 2 of those and carry a full point of elementals. But you can carry a full platoon of normal infantry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I think unarmored elementals count as like 2 or 3 normal dudes or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know. They had weights for that as well.
We'll probably go into that when we do infantry.
Yeah, that's
infantry is a whole other thing. Yeah. So we're just trying to give you an idea of why you would want to take infantry space. But that is technically a full platoon of normal troops.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so your rifle dudes or whatever. So yeah. Machine guns, possibly.
I was going to say machine guns get extra fire against other infantry, so that's pretty cool.
The last one I want to sort of talk about.
What is that absurd looking thing?
So this one is the Ishtar. I'm going to put a picture up there now. Bing! This is 65 tons. It's had a few changes since it was introduced in 2976.
A few.
Yeah,
probably.
It was sort of a bit faster and sort of less armour and weapons, and they've just sort of over the years it's sort of changed to more of a defensive garrison sort of thing, so it doesn't have to cover a lot of ground quickly, and they just give it more armour and more weapons.
Yeah.
All right. So
which it definitely has.
Which it has. So it is classified as a fire support, and we'll get into that. 2.96 million C-bills. For a 65-ton clan piece of equipment, that's still pretty cheap if you compare it against like a mech or whatever, but yeah.
It's not too bad compared to some things, but still.
So the fusion engine moves at 3.5. They used to have one that was 4.6, a bit faster. Ferrofibrous BV2 comes in at 1,404. So that's not too bad. Okay, a crew of 5. But weapons. We want to know what weapons it's got.
Because look at it!
Because it is very, very cool. So on a turret, it has an Ultra AC-10 and an LB-10X.
Which is just rude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
So there's potential of 30 damage straight up there. And the LBX is excellent for like against VTOLs,
Flaks, VTOLs,
and
all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can punch big holes with the Ultra and then pepper for crits with the LBX.
That's right. It can do indirect fire support because it has an LRM-15, which is supplemented with the Artemis fire control. Okay, so if you're going to fire missiles, you want to make sure they all hit.
Yeah.
Now, having a fusion engine, it's got 10 standard heat sinks in it. They've utilised that with 2 ER medium lasers on the front.
Nice.
So that's good. Even if you run out of ammunition for everything else, you've still got some lasers. But it also has an anti-missile system on the front as well, which I like.
That's very cool, yeah.
Because, Infernos and that, they tend to be a problem. Or even normal missiles, they start shooting just LRMs and ATMs at you and things like that.
I mean, Infernos specifically, you're worried about because you get that role for just like completely wiping them out.
Yeah.
It's rude.
Yeah.
And the AMS will take care of that mostly.
That's good. So, like the Odin, it's got the 2 big wheels at the front sort of thing and the small ones at the back. The design is very, very similar, but it's obviously they're more
very odd looking, but cool.
They are, yeah.
But
one
cool.
thing, I think the way that they wanted to sort of introduce the clan vehicles, they have to sort of look a little different because it's supposed to be a bit alien and whatever else.
They're meant to have been a separate like human thing going for So. But it's very cool.
I like that. Like if you're using it in the city for a defensive purpose or whatever, there's a lot of damage there. It's got some added defense from the anti-missile system.
Yeah.
Backup energy weapons is great.
You can basically buy 2 locusts for the cost of that one vehicle there. I wonder which would come off best.
I guess it comes down to how well you can shoot something that runs at 12.
Yeah, I think that guy would probably do the best, but with a medium laser and 2 machine guns on each, you're probably looking at some motive system hits pretty quickly.
Yeah, you could,
But he's got a turret and the LBX and the Ultra.
Yeah, he can outrange as well.
Nasty stuff.
Yeah. But it's quite interesting. I find it to be a interesting little design and how they look. A lot of them are. So, but there's a whole bunch of other weird and wonderful wheeled vehicles out there that the clans have made. We could go into more of them, but these are just sort of 3 that I think are quite interesting and useful.
I'd like to put one out there.
Yeah.
The Calcia Toplin. Kia Toplin. Bruce support tank. If you look up Aztec Turkey God of Rot or Aztec Turkey God, you'll find how to spell it. It's really cool. And the only reason I like it is because it looks like it belongs to Batman. It is a cool looking like ATV sort of support. It's a support tank, and it's 1,000 BV. It doesn't give a price there, but there's a large pulse laser, 2 Streak 4s, 2 micro pulse lasers, a vehicle flamer, and 4 light machine guns. All on a 50-ton clan vehicle that does 86 k's an hour, which is I think like a 4.6 or something.
Nice.
It's mainly Jade Falcon,
Oh, they wear like a Batman like suit, coat, helmet thing.
Yeah, but it's been traded to Clan Wolf, which is why I like it. So it's like I can use it.
Traded to Clan Wolf, eh?
A few of them have been traded in as part of a commerce agreement between the two clans during the 3080s.
Interesting. Okay.
But that is a really cool look. Hopefully we've got a picture of it. We can bring it up and show you. It's a really cool looking tank.
I'm sorry, the Batmobile from Batman Begins wins for me. That's the best one that's ever been out there. I'm sorry. If you disagree, I'm very sorry. If you agree...
I just like the look of it. It's great. And it's got some seriously good weaponry as well. I would put that against a light mech any day. But yeah.
Or even a medium.
Yeah, I
mean, it's 50 tons. If you go tonnage for tonnage, there's a lot of weapons on that.
There's a lot of good, solid... I think it was specifically designed as an urban support tank, like a pacification tank, and it was specifically designed to have as accurate a weapon package as possible, so that it wouldn't damage buildings and things.
Yeah.
So it's really cool though, and I just like the name because I can't pronounce it, and it's cool.
Like some of those countries in Europe that you want to visit.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go, sir? I can't say it.
So I can say
I
can say Quetzalcoatlus, but I can't say Calcia Tertotlin.
But I can't. Your name's Sylvester,
Calcia
but I can't say
Tertotlin.
Sylvester, George.
Oh,
there you go. So there's some examples of some wheeled vehicles that are out there for the clans in the Inner Sphere.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more.
There's like a butt ton of vehicles.
Yeah.
Because they were so prevalent. So it's like you had wheeled or like vehicles as a whole before you had battle mechs.
Yeah.
So they were around for a long time before you even had the invention of battle mechs. So there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of stuff there that you can use. They're not as looked after in the rules as battle mechs, but they're cheaper, they're easy to use, and they have some really cool variation in there. Yeah. I reckon they're worth a shot.
And I think they're going to be great as AI bad guys for us in our little fun scenarios that we've got planned.
Yep, well, I've got a few different ideas on things, and there's going to be some vehicles going in there, and we're going to design some and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that and we'll see how we go.
All right, so that is wheeled vehicles. If you've had experience using wheeled vehicles in your games, tell us how they went. Give us some pointers and tips, maybe. Anything will help us.
Got a favourite? Chuck it down in the comments, because I found a few that I didn't know existed before. So, chuck one.
Always good.
Down there.
So, consider subscribing, and please sort of share these videos around so we can build the community. We'd like to have more people involved and helping us and whatever else. That'd be good.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers,
guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.